So I'm sure everyone at some point in time has heard something to the lines of, well, if people didn't buy expensive phones and cars and shoes or clothes, then they would have more money. Here's the problem with that dumbass statement. If people didn't buy these things, then your stocks would be worthless. Many of you wouldn't have a job, and there'd be no money flowing through the economy. Simple as that. Now let's break this down. First off, inflation. Inflation is that point in time where rich people make even more money. And it only seems to take place when the poor side of society starts to make a little bit more money. Rich people keep stacking up cash. They keep hoarding cash, which forces the government to have to print more cash, because when you add jobs and people's wages go up, more money needs to be printed because rich people are hoarding money. So if rich people would stop hoarding money, that money could go back in the system. The government wouldn't have to print so much money. Inflation wouldn't be as big as it is, because the more money in the system, the less value the money has. But it's amazing, like I said before, how that only applies to money. Not cars, not houses, not real estate. Now, let's go through this one by one. Raising minimum wage. Raising minimum wage doesn't do a damn thing if the cost of living goes up twice as fast. Raising minimum wage only solves the problem until it's time to raise minimum wage again. The child tax credit only helps if you have children of a certain age. Infrastructure, I don't know why this was ever a debate. The infrastructure budget should be as big as the military budget, because like I said before, if your infrastructure isn't strong, if it isn't good, then what the hell exactly is your military defending? And if you think infrastructure is roads and bridges only, turn this video off now. Educational cost. I've already spoken about that. Education is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, which is separating and eliminating. You can go back and check out my education videos. I'm not going to get into it right now. This is just a quick rundown. Supply and demand. Supply and demand doesn't exist. First off, you can't demand something that isn't being supplied. Second of all, let's talk about supply and demand real quick. I'll use two examples. The first example is real estate. I want to know who's the dumbass who demanded that they've been renting an apartment for a couple of years, and the landlord comes and says, hey, I'm going to raise your rent, except you're not going to get anything more out of it. Because you see, when you pay for real estate, especially when it comes to apartments, and real estate in general, really, all you're paying for is space. The space isn't getting any bigger. I don't know why you're paying more money. So I want to know who's the dumbass who kept demanding this. Airline seats. For those of you old enough to remember, airline seats were much bigger. Gave you much more room, and at a cheaper price. So I want to know who's the dumbass who demanded that airline seats shrink while the cost goes up. But yeah, you keep going with your supply and demand bullshit. Okay? Our economy is based around luxury spending, which is why somebody who says something like, if people didn't buy shoes and phones and cars, then they would have more money. No, you would have no anything. Jobs would be scarce. Things would not get made. There'd be no money flowing through the system. Your stocks would be worthless. Because believe it or not, it's those poor people, let me rephrase, those successful poor people who constantly keep buying things are the reason your stocks keep going up. See, that's what's wrong. We live in a society of successful poor people who think they've accomplished more than they have, when in actuality, they've gone into debt, a lot of them for life, pretending they're building wealth. I've already explained that with the example of real estate. You can go back and watch that video. That's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. We live in a world of successful poor people pretending, who keep defending capitalism for some weird reason. Capitalism is not a system. You keep saying you don't want to bring socialism and communism to America. You like the capitalist system. Let me ask you a question. Why is it that capitalists have no problem doing business around the world? In places like China, Russia, Cuba, Venezuela. Capitalism is not a system. Capitalists are sellers. Okay, the rest of you buyers aren't part of the capitalist system. Only in the fact that you provide capitalists with money. You keep defending a system you're not a part of, which is crazy. But that's what it is. You guys, especially you Trump supporters out there, you're cheering on a capitalist who's literally does business around the world, including places like China. Evil, evil China. His daughter has, 150 something patents or something like that in China? Or whatever deal they made. These capitalists only think of you as dollar signs. And you're not even a capitalist. What's the last thing you sold? But that's what our economy is based on. Luxury spending. Most people, and when I say most people, I mean 9 out of 10 people don't have to fly. The only reason we have an airline industry is because you people want to pretend that you're world travelers. And I say pretend that you're world travelers because when you say you're going to Mexico, Mexico is this. You went to a resort in Cancun this big. You say you went to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is this. You went to a resort in Puerto Rico this big. You've been to China? No, you've been to Hong Kong. How can you be a world traveler if you've never even been around your own country? Interesting, isn't it? But that's what our economy is based on. Luxury spending. So to the people who go, well, if they don't buy these expensive things, they wouldn't have any money. Neither would you. Now, here's the answer to fix everything, and that's to lower the cost of living. That's as simple as that. Like I said before, minimum wage doesn't do anything. The cost of living keeps going up twice as fast. What good is $15 an hour in a 2-income economy? You know how many people I've heard say, hey, you should move here, it's a lot more affordable. And then 2 sentences later turn around and tell me how they're suffering and struggling? What? What? But this is the mindset of successful poor people. I don't know what else to tell everybody. It's pretty much a double-edged sword. But the only real answer is to lower the cost of living. Now, you can't force people to lower the cost of living. That's the problem. Well, you could, but you dumbasses keep demanding higher prices. For less. Because like I showed you with real estate, not getting any bigger. Why the hell are you paying more? I'm going to paraphrase, I saw something, I think it was Elon Musk who said, a person making $30,000 shouldn't go out and finance a $60,000 car. Something to that effect. And it's an amazing thing because, like I said, if they didn't go out and finance these cars, Elon Musk doesn't make any money. See, the problem isn't that people are going out and buying expensive things they can't afford. That's not what you should be asking. You shouldn't be asking why these people are doing that. You should be asking Elon Musk and other people why they can't make good products at better prices. But then again, the scam continues. You'll never recognize a scam no matter how hard it keeps punching you in the nuts. And it'll just keep going the way it's going. What's that definition of insanity? Yeah, you keep doing what you're doing.